Oh, hello everybody. Welcome to the Interesting Modelling Company Sunday service, Sunday car service. And I am joined tonight by our motoring correspondent, Mr. Ian Hartup. How you doing, Ian?
I'm okay, my friend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Busy days.
We've got a lot of news to talk about tonight, haven't we?
Well, we've got the roundup of Nuremburg, haven't we? And there's been a few interesting announcements there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you wanna? I can see behind you. Do you want to talk about what's behind you? And don't say the best years of your life. Just over there on your.
Do you mean the new bits of me doodads around?
No, the little Fiat. The little Fiat.
Well, yeah, we finished this. Let me switch over and we can have a talk about that. Finished this in time for the Bolton show last Sunday. I know a couple of people saw it there. I'll take that off.
Oh, that's a beauty.
You know what? I really enjoyed it. It's one of Tamiya's. What do they call them? They had a name for the range, didn't they? Legends or something like that range. But I've done enough to it to make it my own, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So we've got the Ukrainian Scale Productions wheels, engine upgrades, tailgate stays, and interior upgrade. The keys are in the ignition, which I'm very which always makes me smile. I do like that. So when you're onto three different colours on the ashtray that you start worrying, which it has got. The disappointments with the kit, definitely that windscreen wiper. I'm not a big fan of it. And no one does a better replacement, which is a little bit disappointing. But it's cool. It's as little sort of over Christmas into the new year builds for myself to go by. I was pleased with it. That color is a number of people are surprised when I tell them it's Air Superiority Blue, but it literally is a jar of Mysticolor Air Superiority Blue, and it's I tell you what, for some reason it's staticky. It picks up the dust really beautifully, this one.
So you used a whole jar of Mysticolor on that little Fiat 500?
I did, yeah. There's a whole jar of Mysticolor on there. There's 3 layers of paint, progressively
in between obs.
Yeah. So I started with a coat of Mr. Primer Surfacer 1000 in grey. Then there's a couple of sanded out coats of the 1500 grey, and then moved on to the colour. So there's a fairly wettish coat just to seal everything up. And then I built the gloss up over a period. The thing with this is obviously this is a 1960s car, so I didn't want that sort of glassy finish that we see. There are a couple of things that irk me. I wish I hadn't put the Scorpion on the hood because the decal film's showing up. But apart from that, and that windscreen wiper, I think it's really nice. Good little fun kit. Sorry.
Did you gloss coat it after the decals went on, or?
Yes. So there's a single, very heavily thinned coat of GX112 UV cut on that, just to seal the paint more than anything, seal the decals on into the paint. But that decal's showing up a treat, and I don't quite know why, because it didn't seem that bad before. So I'm wondering if I've.
It's not silvering, is it?
No, it's not silvered.
It's just
you can see the hang on, you can see the film. See there, look.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, it's like, you know, it's done. As is always the way.
Yeah, Aronville says, lovely Fiat Arbath, Ian. Excellent. Captain Magenta, bum, 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 bum. He says, sweet, sweet Sarah Jane. God, this is like a who's who of science fiction kind of sidekicks, isn't it? Sarah Jane, sorry, Sarah. Sarah Jane says, nicely done, Ian. Looks stunning. Theron Hampton likes to know, Ian, what are you doing to attach it to the base?
Well, it's light and airy, being a 500, and it is literally just PVA'd to the base. A little bit under each of the wheels. Yeah, I don't know what. Oh, I kept the tape. Yeah, and this is one of our friends at Visual Impacts Cases, and the nameplate comes from the wonderfully appropriate company Name It, which many of us use. One of their chrome finish plates. I like these. All of my builds with plates in have these, and in this with this font on. So much so that the next one on the bench, which is another Skyline, I've already got the pack for and the case. So
excellent.
Yeah, done. Another one to go on the shelf for the cat to assault. She was up on the shelf the other day, which was a little bit disconcerting. But there you
go. Yes. Dean Taylor says hello from Whirl. Goodness me, literally just up the road from me. Love Whirl High Street. It's brilliant. They've got a proper job there. They've got some excellent cafes. Yeah, love Whirl. Some good charity shops as well. Anyway, moving on. I haven't got anything automotive to report on this week because I've been working on aeroplanes. So. But I am hoping to move my Tamiya motorbike along a bit, the Ducati, because that's been sitting around for far too long. Of course, the excitement last night was when I was in the kitchen and making a cup of tea, and I suddenly heard this weird noise. Then I heard my compressor kick in. My first thought was it was Derp messing around doing something. And came into the workshop waiting for the compressor to stop running, but it just kept going. So I thought, right, don't like this. So I switched it off and then spent half an hour checking over it with a torch because it just, every time I turned it on, the pressure gauge just would not go up at all. So I thought, right, in that case, then we're going to have to break out the spare compressor I've got here, the Badger one, plug that in. The pressure gauge wouldn't do anything on that either, and I thought, what's going on here? Then I suddenly thought, hang about, what could be causing this? What could be causing this? Wah, wah. My air hose had decided to spring a leak, and so chopped out the offending section, which also was that far. So I now have a considerably shorter air hose here. But what I do have is a working compressor, thankfully. So it wasn't as catastrophic as it could have been. So we've been cracking on with some airbrushing today. Exciting times. Anyway, talking of cracking on, shall we crack on with some of the news? And this is Revell.
Cool.
So if we ping along the pages, Ian, if you want to talk us through what we're looking at here. So I didn't realize I was modeling for Revell there, but there we go. So here we go. Talk us through this one then.
So in a break from tradition, Revell have announced some new Formula One car kits, and they are in their click style now. Their click system's becoming quite predominant in their new releasing. There are a number of people I know who've built the Aston Martin DB5, which was one of the first ones released in this style, and they're all very complimentary. But the thing that's most noticeable about this is this is 1/20th scale, which is a major change of direction around F1 for Revell, because Revell for many years did their F1 cars in 24th scale and bucked the Tamiya trend. We all know from conversations with Mr. Farmer on this very channel that the Tamiya 20th scale ones originated because they needed to be able to put the battery pack in them, and it made the chassis bigger. I thought was as good a reason as any. But this is Revell now coming on board with 20th scale. So they've done the McLaren. This is last year's World Championship car, which and obviously you can build both Piastri and Lando Norris's cars from that. I believe there's a second one as well. Are you there, John?
Sorry, Ian. Sorry.
Move on to next page.
I hit the wrong button there. Bear with. Sorry, I had the document up in front of me. There we go. That's what we're looking for. The Red Bull RB21.
Yeah. So again, you've got you can basically build 1, 2, and 3 in the World Championship there, and unfortunately Yuki Tsunoda's not that. Yeah, but €80. 79 euros and 99 cents. Going to be interesting to see just what they're like. But they've got a good, decent parts counts, and yeah, we'll have to have a little look at that and see what they are. But,
if only we knew somebody at Revell who we could lean on to get a copy of one of these. Oh, hang about, I think we might. So
yeah, funny enough, I was chatting to him at Bolton. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. So they are modern F1 cars, which there ain't many of. I think outside of the realms of our friends at Alpha, I can't tell you the last time we actually physically ended up with. Obviously, there's still we're waiting for the kick model, the Fun Models kick Sauber kit that's been in the works for a couple of years in both 12th and 20th scale. Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I think that we know they'll sell, and yeah, just because of what they are. So I notice there's lots of people who, a number of comments going, Jim Drew saying click style or not, still buying them. Yeah, because no one else is going to come up with a 1/20th scale McLaren or Red Bull that will be licensed, because clearly they are, and isn't a full resin 150 quid shout.
Yep. Paul Adams makes a very good point. He says licensing has pushed the cost of that kit. We've got a question here from Dean Taylor, who says, "Hi Ian, as I'm looking to build more cars this year, mainly F1, but when I have airbrushed Tamiya lacquers with a heavy gloss coat, I keep getting speckles. I assume dust or something else."
The biggest thing is dust. So there's a useful thing that you can have around your bench, a tack cloth, just like a woven material. That's what car painters use to get dust off of bodies before they spray them. There's no reason why we can't use them. I do. I also wipe down my models with some Dettol antibacterial wipes, the multi-purpose wipes, ahead of gloss coats, just to get. It's just about trying to reduce the amount of dust on them as much as you possibly can. The other thing, I did have a conversation with someone, and I have an airbrush that I only use to spray and clear coats. Now that puts me in a generally advantaged position, because I can do that. But that airbrush has nothing else put through it ever than clear coats, and that is an advantage, I think, because we do get residue from paint materials and other things in the brush, no matter how well you clean it. So potentially that might be part of it. And as someone's just said, leave the extractor on for a while before you start spraying. Don't just turn it on and go straight into the booth. Get it on, let it pull anything out of the atmosphere inside the booth, and then do your spraying. But again, this is where things like the dehydrators come into play, because you've got a brief period of air dry and then put it in there so nothing falls on it. But yeah.
I was just going to say, with my spray booth, I always wet it down before I do any spraying as well. Just I upcycle, recycle just an anti-bac spray bottle. The ones there, the kitchen anti-bac spray bottles, but it just sprays a nice fine mist into the spray booth. And likewise just water. Once I've used up all the anti-bac, I just put water in there, and then just spray that in there about 5-10 minutes before I start spraying. Turn do that, then I'll turn the fan on, and then so it's drawing everything in anyway. And Mike Williams also says, Ian, can you put the links up for the display cases and nameplates in the public group, please? They look great.
We'll do it again later on. I have done it previously, but I will do it again later.
Right.
Going back to what you were just saying. Yeah. Someone just made a comment that the lacquers dry fast. So that if you're spraying Tamiya clear coats, particularly, use the Tamiya lacquer thinners with retarder, or use leveling thinners. Anything else, you do run the risk of them drying in the air. With those retarder thinners, it'll slow it down so it levels on the model, and you get a slower drying rate, and that way,
Right, let's dive on with some more Revell car news, and we've got this 1999 Skyline GTR from the Fast and Furious franchise.
Interesting choice, this.
Yep.
Because that's the third one of them we've talked about this year. There's another one. I can't remember what the first one was, but it was one of the more obscure brands. But then Aoshima have just announced this car, and that's actually out in the same series. Because I remember I got the Don Toretto's Mazda RX-7 behind me. I'm waiting on this one from Aoshima, shipping in from the Far East, because I haven't got around to ordering it yet. But that's another one. Again, it's in the click system. But the interesting thing is that's 1/16, which is a big model.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody's done. I'm having to think very hard now about whether anybody else has done a 16th scale Skyline. Odd scale decision. Be interesting to see what it's like when it does surface. That again, we come back to conversations about, does anybody else do it? No one else does a 16th scale kit of the Fast and Furious Skyline. That's from Too Fast, Too Furious, that car. And it's one of the most iconic cars from the series. 16th scale. Big parts count. It just shows like just shy of 207, just shy of 300 parts, I think that says, does it?
Yep. I'm just having a quick look at
200 parts.
200 parts.
They're pitching it as skill level 2. That's interesting, in their opinion. I stand by the thing that I think skill levels are just a marketing ploy. But there you go.
Yep. Next from Revell, we have. Oops, come on, slide. There we go. 24 scale Ford Mustang 2-in-1 kit.
125th scale gives that away.
25th, sorry.
Yeah, I'm saying so. 125th scale gives it away that's an American Revell project. Interesting. Obviously, this is a facelift on the slightly older car. It's not a new car, I believe. But again, in certain marketplaces, that will sell for fun. and the scale gives away which marketplace that will be. Because if that was a European kit, it would go on 24th.
Yep. We've got a comment from viewer Tim. He says, underwhelmed. Tim, stay tuned because your whelm will be overed in a second.
I presume that's the Skyline, Tim. That will sell for, that will make them an enormous amount of money, and hopefully we'll get other stuff that will whelm you. Can I just make one comment?
Go on.
Someone said, I noticed a few Tamiya lacquers are thin enough in the bottles. I presume you mean to spray from the bottle. No, nothing's ever thin enough to spray directly from the bottle.
No. Paul Dunham asks, are the click system kits pre-painted?
I actually don't know the answer to that until we see these in the box. The Aston Martin certainly isn't, but it's molded in multiple colors. So I think the idea is you can build it without painting, a la Matchbox.
Well, a la Tamiya as well, because a lot of
their recent stuff, So we're coming back to that, Sarah Jane, in a minute.
Yeah, we're coming out. Don't you worry about that. Right, here we have what can best be described in the West Country as a great big tractor.
Well, that's the one sitting in the left-hand lane of the dual carriageway, holding everybody up all the way up the A64 on my journey to work on the morning. They've done it on purpose just to annoy me.
Now,
120th scale again, though.
Yeah, 20th scale. I was just going to say 20th scale again.
But €100?
Licensing?
I don't know. Is there any sponsorship decals on it? I can't see. But yeah.
No, I meant licensing in terms of the actual kind of product. The actual manufacturers.
Yeah. Gonna be. I don't know. I mean, it's a chunky thing in 120th scale, but it's a chunky price tag. I'm not so sure.
212 parts, and as it says, large snap assembly kit, great for beginners, no painting required, rotable wheels, left door opens, movable bonnets, large format decal and sticker sheet, comprehensive assembly instructions. So
absolutely does absolutely nothing for yours truly. But I know plenty of people who like their tractors.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know Hasegawa do a sterling trade in agricultural machinery. In fact, at some stage, I'm going to try and get hold of one of their ag kits because they do look pretty fun, actually.
It's funny you should say that.
Oh, here we go.
Picked that up recently.
Oh, I say.
You see, Hasegawa have gone the other way. That's 135th.
Yes.
That is a maize combine. Right? That's for harvesting maize and what we call sweet corn. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well done.
Right.
Thank you. You're here till Thursday. Try the veal. Yeah.
Try the veal. Right. The next. Oops, Daisy. Come on, screen. There we go. The next one is the cars and trucks section. So they're doing a 24th scale McLaren.
So you would instantly, that's a Revell Europe production, and we saw the artwork for this, the drawings for this at SMW. They had it up there. I had a really good look at the drawings and stuff and was very impressed with what I saw. I'm actually really quite looking forward to that one because they've done a Lamborghini as well in the same scale, and that is out now in Europe at least. I haven't seen it on the shelves over here, and one is currently winging its way to me from the Low Countries.
Also, for this year rather, 24 scale Mercedes AMG GT63. Is this? It says new tool. That's answered my question.
Yeah, this new car. That's the new model. It's a new model. It's a very, very new thing, and that's a lovely thing. Really, you know, when there's a car out there and you can look at it and go, yeah, listen, I'd love one. I doubt I could get in and out of it, but I'd love one. That's it.
Yeah.
It's a fabulous thing. Looking forward to seeing what that does. There is a suggestion, and Sarah Jane will prick up at this one. There is a suggestion that is the format for the next generation Mercedes AMG Racer, the new GT3 car for 2027. That'll be interesting.
Fabulous looking thing, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks fast just sitting there, doesn't it? And angry as well. I do like an angry car.
Well, in my experience from having them kind of hove into my rear view mirror, Mercs and Beamers always do tend to have very angry grills. They're almost kind of like, out of my way. And it's just like, whatever. Lox, now here's a question. Lox9 says, can you get a good gloss finish with Tamiya acrylics?
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
Tamiya acrylics, particularly if, and against convention, you thin them with Mr. Hobby leveling thinner.
Right.
But just give it a long, long time to cure. And if you bake it or let it, just put it in a Tupperware box and put it in the airing cupboard, that old trick, and leave it, and you'll get a beautifully glossy finish with it. I used to use that for getting the best gloss black out of Tamiya acrylics back in the day before the lacquer line came along. Very, very effective.
Ian, are you an advocate of giving when you've got a model, say I've just painted something black and I put it into the Von Chef and it's completely, hardened off and whatever, is then giving the model a coat of pure lacquer thinner just to reactivate the surface again briefly, and then putting it back into the paper again.
Either a straight thinner or a 1 to 10 or 1 to 9 mils. Yeah, something really. Yeah.
Also new from Revell, but again, this is 1/25th scale, so I think this is being driven, if you pardon the pun, by their American wing, and it's a Corvette C8 Cabriolet.
I think. Therefore, I am. No, I think that's actually just because they've done a C8, and I'm sure it was a cab a couple of years on. I'm wondering if this is a reissue or a revision of that, or whether they've just gone back to it and gone, no, we'll do a click, because it's build and paint this, not click. Which that's a new. Right, so it's not a new parts. Notice.
Yeah.
So not a new tool. Yeah, so that's an open version of the Corvette. Yeah, they've done enough to convert it from the coupe to the convertible. That's about it.
Okay.
Really. So it's the existing tooling.
Yep. And then they're also doing some more Fast and Furious cars.
These are, I believe, reissues.
It just says new packaging design.
If you look, it says ongoing item above the Eclipse and the Charger. So those are already out. And then they're reintroducing the GTX and the Camaro. That 69 Camaro Yenko has been out. That's been sold off more times than Debenhams. It's unbelievable how many times they've reissued that kit, and I believe it may have even started off as a monogram kit many moons ago. If you remember the burgundy one I finished around Christmas time, that's that kit. That's the same plastic, and they've done just enough with it to be able to turn it into the car that was in Fast and Furious. I can't even remember which one of the films it was in, but yeah.
We seem to have struck a nerve tonight. A lot of closet Wurzel fans out there tonight. Mike Williams says, now we're all singing the Wurzels, And Anne-Marie has chimed in with, I'm singing about my brand new combine harvester. For those of you kind of like wondering what on earth we're talking about, the Wurzels was they are a folk band from this neck of the woods. They're a West Country band. And yeah, Google them. Google them.
Well, it's all Gavin Blackburn's start. He kind of hoped they do a brand new combine harvester in reflection to the Revell tractor, and it just went downhill from there. Clearly, didn't it?
Yeah. I'm just having a quick look here. Dean Taylor says, I found problems with acrylic gloss with leveling thinners. It seems to take forever to cure. Tamiya lacquers have a better color range for cars.
Yeah, true. I will not argue with that. Hence my comment about you're good if you do use the acrylics, and particularly if you're thinning with leveling, you're gonna need to understand they can take up to 3 to 4 weeks to dry properly.
Yeah, right. The next news item, and this should put a smile on Mr. Timothy Maunder's face, because Tim is a massive golf fan, and in fact he had a Golf GTI. He was telling me today how many times it was stolen. But this is coming from Revell this year, 50 years of the Golf GTI, Golf 1 GTI. I am, regrettably, Ian, I am old enough to remember when these came onto the market, because it was that era of the small hatchbacks, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's the original hot hatch, isn't it? Series 1 GTI. This is a reissue of a kit that Revell tooled new maybe 5 to 10 years ago, and it's been out of their lineup on it for a little while, I believe. But obviously they're doing the 50-year thing. I would say that the IPMS car and motorcycle SIG are doing a theme based around that there for Telford. Don't think they're all going to end up looking like Golf GTIs, though. That's kind of the point. Those of you who were at Telford a few years ago may remember that they did a similar thing with the 2CV, and there were some very interesting 2CVs on those tables. So that's if you're interested in getting involved with that, have a word with Richard Middleton. But yeah, this is a great little kit. This is an interesting one. Now it says new on it. Now I very much doubt that's the Tamiya kit, which means it's one of two things. It's either the AMT kit, the gold wing that is. It's either the AMT kit or possibly the one that Italeri issued, that I personally am not 100% certain of the provenance of. And I meant to look it up on Skullmates today and I forgot.
I'm just doing it now. Mercedes-Benz 300L. Scalemates, no, that's the Tamiya kit. Talk amongst yourselves.
There was an Italeri kit. I believe there possibly may have been an SU one. I know there was an AMT one because I got an original 1960. Oh my word, it's a long time ago. Box behind me with one in. So yeah, it could be one of those. Regardless, it's a gold wing and it's one of the most beautiful cars ever.
Sorry to interrupt. 1988, Italeri introduced it as a new tool kit. So it could be. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, that's the Roadster version. So
yeah.
And then they did the Gullwing version in. I'm just having a look here. The Gullwing version actually was 2019. Good Lord. So that's relatively recent. I
don't think that's right. I remember that Italeri kit a lot longer ago than that.
I'm on Scalemates at the moment, and they've got the Roadster version is 1988. Then the next one is the 300 SL Cabriolet, which was a Tester's boxing in 89, and then it jumps forward 30 years to 2019, and the 24 scale 300 SL Gullwing. There's nothing else. I'll bring the page up actually.
I mean, don't worry about that, because I mean, to be honest, it's liable. It's obviously not going to be the Tamiya one. It's not a new tool. So it could be a number of things. We'll see, won't we? When's it due out? Does it say? Usually it says there's a quarter time, doesn't it? Doesn't? That's interesting.
Bear with. I'm just having a quick look here. No, nothing.
Yeah.
0626, yeah. So that's kind of June.
So Peter Oxley, Modelling Lab. Revel's idea of new and ours is very different. This is a true statement as you're ever going to make. How many times have we opened a new Revel box and found a Matchbox kit in it? Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm not gonna decry that. In fact, we're gonna have a bit of Matchbox love in a minute. But we've got,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, we've got, this is also coming from Revell, part of their 100 years of Mercedes-Benz. This is due for May, and this is the 300 SL 24 Coupe, which I've got to say, Ian, that is beautiful. That is just ugly.
Oh, it's H's sleek, isn't it? It's just what they were. And someone just pointed out it's possibly the Hella kit, that SL.
Ah.
Yeah. Which actually, yeah, might be right. Yeah. Oh, that's got some work.
Oh, interesting. Let's move on from that. And oh, that's lovely. I don't usually say that about BMWs, but that's a 24 scale 507. That's a lovely looking car.
Yeah.
And then we have, goodness me, you may notice, ladies and gentlemen, that the scale has jumped down to 32nd scale. This is a Revel Classics, which means it's a Matchbox kit.
I do like up top that it says Revel Classics range. I mean, I know that this is going to sound, how close to Airfix Vintage Classics is that as an idea? Yeah, it's a small world, isn't it?
It is a small one. But to be honest with you, Revell were first in there with the classics, because they
did the SSP range. Remember those?
Yeah,
small
but they were doing,
I think they called them, didn't they?
They were doing Revell Classics about 10 years ago, and bizarrely they were putting Matchbox kits out with the original Roy Huxley artwork on it, but they were describing them as Revell Classics, and it's like, not quite.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm looking forward to this, and they're bringing back the Matchbox Aston Martin Ulster as well. So fabulous. I've never built any of the Matchbox cars, so I know I saw that. That's not fair.
You can't argue. You really can't.
Fair enough. And then the final one from Revell tonight. The GLFL Simba fire engine. Goodness me, 476 parts, Ian.
There's not a dimension on there, is there? It's a big thing, that. If you drop that on your foot, you're going to know about it. Yeah, I've seen a couple of these built up over the years at shows, and it's enormous. So, yeah. But again, you look at it, 150 euros. Yeah.
It does say on that little box, it's got LBH, and it says 364. So
I've no idea what that means. Have you?
Length, breadth, height. I can imagine height, but there's only one dimension in there, so I can only imagine the
isn't it? Yeah.
364 means that's 364 centimeters in length.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I think what it is it's the combination of length, breadth, and height, and it's that measure that they use for postage calculation. So I'm wondering if that's
right.
Box size, because this is possibly material for retailers.
Oh, okay. So that
the ride on.
That is. They're all in tonight. And Ethan says that Jaguar and Aston are beautiful looking cars. The Jag in particular. I'm not gonna naysay you there.
Not argue with that, Ethan. No.
And Tim also says the MG would be nice. So there we go. He says millimeters. Right, shall we move on? Because we are 3/4 of the way through the show, and let's get rid of that. And
We've finished one subject. Yeah, cool.
There
All
we
right,
go.
Italeri. Now,
we did cover Italeri, I think, on last week's show with Chris, but we concentrated more on the aircraft and armor. So some things here, Ian. Some things he said.
Trucks are they're kind of the only. Well, setting aside AMT, who make a quite a decent range of American period trucks. I don't think they've issued anything new for quite some time. Italeri are kind of the front runner when it comes to truck kits. They're doing some interesting bits and pieces. There's three there is also new parts.
New parts, yeah.
There's nothing on there that actually says new.
No, there's no there's nothing new. But the three Iveco, sorry, the two Ivecos and the Volvo here have new parts.
That fixed chassis box lorry is quite a, the thing is, they're a substantial model as well in 24th scale. I know Spencer, I believe, was it Spencer that said he was going to get to build one for someone?
Yeah, I've got one up in the attic, which I'm going to have a word with Mr. Farmer, and I'll get around to building at some stage. So yes, so there we are. That's trucks. Cars, Ian, goodness me. So we've got some ex-Eschi stuff here, in as much as we've got the Ford Transit as an Italeri delivery truck.
I like that idea. I like that one. Yeah.
Yep. And we've got I love those Range Rovers. Just fabulous looking cars. And we've got Range Rover Police, and then we've got two Italians here. We've got the Lamborghini Murcielago, I don't know how you pronounce that. All right, and the Gallardo as well.
Yeah.
And well, interestingly, down here we've got some more new parts. The Lancia Delta Integrale Safari, which we'll come to again in a minute. That's got new parts in 24 scale, and the Fiat 131 Rally Safari.
Now, I believe those are both ex-Eschi again, because they've already issued the 131 and the Integrale with other rally decals on within the last 3 or 4 years. So that's quite a sensible choice. The Safari Rally cars are visually different enough that they're worth investing the extra effort in. The one that's catching my eye is that Land Rover in the zebra stripes. I'm looking at it going, what a great bit of artwork that is. That's cool.
Yep. And I'm just scrolls down. I'm on the wrong page here. Bear with, folks. Bear with.
That one.
Right. Now, here are the meat and potatoes, Ian, because these are the big guns. So we've got two 1/12 scale kits here, and one 1/9 scale kit. But there is that Lancia Delta Integrale again, Safari version, but they're doing it in 1/12. So this is obviously it's an adaptation of an existing kit with additional bits.
So they've issued the Integrale twice now. They've issued it in a white Martini scheme and a red Martini scheme. The Mercedes, now you see, they're saying 100% new there, and I had to go right the way through all my materials to double check that wasn't a retool of one of the older Porsche or Protar kits. And as far as I can tell, it isn't. It's an interesting choice. If it's tooled by the same people who did the Bugatti that I built last year, I think there's going to be a lot of very happy people, because that is a stunningly attractive car. It's blooming white, though, isn't it? Yeah, white, the bane of my life, white cars. But but that and the Lancia are really good choices. But the thing that they're probably going to sell most of, and I'm going to correct Lox9 here, it is not the Protar kit. I've been assured that it is not a reissue of the Protar kit. This is a new tooling kit. Now, suggestion is that either the old Protar tooling has finally put its feet up in the air and danced the dance of the dying fly, and they've had to tool a new one, or they just got sick of having people tell them how blooming awful the Protar kit actually was, and they've done a new tooling, which was John and mine's conversation before the show was along those lines, because I know you've built the Protar one. I've looked at it. We'll just say that.
Right. Well, sorry to just going to say, Ian. We mentioned the. Oh, I've just destroyed the screen here. The Protar kit. This is the Italeri boxing of the Protar kit, and I built this. Checks notes 7 years ago. Yeah, 7 years ago. Andy Farmer said to me, "Do you fancy building one?" And I just remember thinking, not really, no, it doesn't interest me at all whatsoever. But I thought, we'll give it a go. Do you know what? One of the most fun and rewarding projects I have built in years. It was also my first encounter with the Tamiya lacquers. So this was a learning curve on doing, nice, smooth, glossy finishes. But I absolutely loved that project. It wasn't, there were problems, and it was a really hoary old kit. I mean, it was more flash than plastic, but I loved it, and I would certainly look forward to seeing a brand new one from Italeri. So my gut feeling, Ian, is that I think the tooling just gave up.
Yeah.
It was certainly a bit long in the tooth when I built it 6 years ago. So yeah. So let's go back to Italeri. So yeah, some good choices.
Can you go back to the page before that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, my apologies. Not a Land Rover. It is indeed a Toyota Land Cruiser. I stand corrected. I wanted to see the picture again, but whatever it is, love that. I love the zebra stripes.
Yep.
Cool. Sorry.
I get the funny feeling somebody's going to have to build one of them for Telford. So
well volunteered.
Yep. So that is that's oops daisy. Let's get us back on screen. That's Italeri's car highlights for this year. Atlantis, Ian. Atlantis. Now that's a brand that we don't talk about as much as we should do on this show. This is something they're doing.
So those of you who've listened to our witterings over the last couple of years will know that Atlantis is the company that acquired a lot of the older Revel, Monogram, Aurora, Pyro, I believe, as well, tooling that was left over when Hobbyco folded, when they folded. And they're slowly putting out items, but they're doing little bits of work to bring them and make them a little bit easier. So, for instance, this one has new one-piece replacement rubber tires, and a new decals. I'm not gonna beat about the bush. The old Revell, now Atlantis 57 Chevy Nomad 2-door station wagon, is not Tamiya quality when you come to build it. It is a bear. However, it's fun. If you get it right, you'll end up with a very, very good result. But the decals and the artwork that they've combined for this thing, that is an absolutely beautiful bit of artwork and boxing. They've used Starfighter decals. They're a renowned producer of very, very high quality decals in the States. And you know what? Talk about bringing a bit of life to an old subject. There isn't, and the funny thing is, there isn't another 57 Chevy Nomad kit out there. So if you want to,
Atlantis will have a market all to themselves, won't they?
Yeah, I mean, if you really wanted to be pedantic, and you could combine the roof and the back with something like the AMT Pro Modeler 57 body, which is a newer tooling, and end up with something that probably takes just as much effort to get a good result out of as it would do to try and beat that one into submission. So, and at the minute, Revel did a few years ago. Revel did a whole series of 57 Fords. They did sedan, and they did wagon versions, station wagon versions, and they were fabulous kits, beautifully built, beautifully designed. They go together lovely. And a lot of people thought at the time that meant that they were going to carry on doing other things similarly. And they didn't. They stopped. Because, and I don't know whether that's because obviously the Hobbyco thing happened, and various other things happened. But they did they did a 29 Ford Roadster, they did a 30 Ford Coupe as well, which they're amongst the finest hot rod kits ever produced. Now, they don't seem to have gone back to the subject era or subject matter, and I'm not sure whether that's just a change in direction or whatever. I did fall across the Hobbyco failure period. So, but the 29 and the 30 have definitely come back out again. The 57s, I believe they've come back out with new decals and new box art. But there's no one out there doing new tooling kits of that era at the minute. To be honest, we know we're fairly short served when it comes to car kits, full stop, particularly in the European market. So yeah, it's a shame, because a new tool 57 Chevy Bel Air, if you could tool it such that it could be a 2-door or a 4-door or a Nomad, that would probably be amongst the best-selling kits you've ever produced if you were a manufacturer of the ilk of some of the bigger manufacturers we have now, because the demand for them would be enormous, absolutely enormous. But there's a lack of understanding, and we come back to conversations we've had about Airfix on the show and in other places, and the lack of understanding of the car market, lack of interest in the car market that's there, and it's just one of those things, and we kind of have to put up with it. We get Nunu doing the BMW that we're going to talk about briefly in a minute. That's just come out, and there were people going, "Oh well, yeah, why have they done that?" Don't worry about why they've done that. Just take advantage of the fact that you've got it, because no one else was going to do that car, and that unfortunately is very much the way of it at the minute. We have to kind of almost be grateful for what we've got. There's a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, those Atlantis toolings are really old." Yeah, they are, but most of what they do, you're not going to get anywhere else. They've just reissued the Brougham kit. Well, for a start, it's like an MFI flat pack, flat side. But there's never ever going to be another kit of that subject. It's not like a Spitfire where there's 30 manufacturers making Spitfire kits, or a 109. How many new 109Es have we had this year, John? I think I lost count at about 8 in different scales by different manufacturers.
Yeah, about that, but it's an evergreen subject, though, isn't it? It's
but much like a 57 Chevrolet Bel Air in the American market, you talk about custom cars, and you go around the shows in America, there'll be 57 Chevys, and there'll be 62 Impalas, and there'll be and all these cars are, the British and European car market is very different to the American car market. That's fairly obvious, but I just think car modeling globally at the minute is underserved, and I think if someone was to come into the market and say, right, we're going to do this, this, and this, and they were of that era and of that quality, they wouldn't have a great deal of competition right now, because what's gone before is now pretty past its best. The nice thing with the Atlantis guys is they're investing in these toolings. They're taking these old toolings and they are cleaning them up, and they're preparing them properly, and they're taking the time to make sure that what comes out of that tool is as good as it possibly can be. And whereas the people that had them before were just turning them out, just
cranking them until they fall apart. Yeah.
And it's telling. So they're investing new tires. So they've got, it's like Salvinos, JR Salvinos, we've talked about them before. They've acquired the old Monogram NASCAR kits. In a lot of instances, they've tooled new glass sprues for them. They've tooled new tire sprues for them. They've tooled new wheel sprues for them to get them as best they possibly can. Yeah. And yeah, so we'll come to the reissues thing in a minute with Tamiya.
Well, I was just going to say, talking of Tamiya, they have got some. They've got some new tool stuff. Oops, Daisy. Why? I don't know what's going on here. I added that to stage, and as soon as I do the comments, it disappeared. But here we go. New tool. This is brand new. So this is a 1/12 scale Honda CB 1000F. So take it away, Ian.
Right. So that is the first unfaired bike kit Tamiya have done in nearly 20 years. Everything else has been a faired kit. This is Honda continuing their line of CB bikes. I had a Honda CB more years ago than I'm going to tell you about, and they were always amongst the best in the category. That retro look is beautiful. It's even got the retro Honda graphics on it. I think that's going to be a great kit. There's a couple of things in there in material that came with it. They've said that some of the exposed pipe work, which traditionally they'd have just given you either a clear plastic, a smooth plastic molding, or a bit of rubber tubing for, has got texture on it. That's an interesting diversion. I'm wondering whether that means they're 3D printed or similar. But it looks a really beautifully done and comprehensive kit. I will definitely be looking forward to getting my hands on one of those.
Yeah, just going to say we went to the Tamiya blog to get some images. So all these images, copyright Tamiya blog. Just going to say, Ian, you were saying about unfaired motorbikes. What about the Monkey? The Monkey 125, or isn't that
it's a retool or reissue?
Was it?
It wasn't a new kit as far as I'm aware.
According to scale, mate.
According to Tamiya, that's the first unfaired bike they've made in over 20 years. It's in their press release for the kit.
Okay, because according to, I'm just having a look at the ScaleMates timeline here. I mean, it all depends whether you want to count the Tamiya Monkey as being in the same class. It's the Monkey was 2019.
12th scale then,
and it's 12th scale. So Monkey 125. Anyway, sorry, that was me. That's because I built the Monkey. So yeah, it looks pretty neat, doesn't it?
Yeah, I like that. The model even looks great unpainted.
I've got to say, I have gone down that route a couple of times with Mr. Farmer, where he's asked me to build something but not paint it. In fact, we did that last year with the what was the car I built last year?
With the 911, the GT3.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. So that was all just raw plastic. Goes against my basic instincts, but if the client asks for that, that's what you deliver. But yes, this looks pretty neat, doesn't it, Ian?
It's it's definitely got my interest.
Jack Daniels.
Jen Wright.
Yeah, he says, any tips on getting a realistic looking finish on black motorcycle seat and saddlebags? I'm getting either plastic or rubber looking finish. Tamiya Yamaha Roadster, my first bike since the 80s. Thoughts, Ian?
So I mix Tamiya lacquer rubber black with their satin black, and then I use a couple of drops of their retarder thinner, and it's a little bit, but you've got to airbrush it very, very lightly and very, very thin. So low air pressure, a little bit further away from the part than you think is the right idea.
Excuse me.
Yep, bless you. And just dust it in. You want a little bit of texture, if you know what I mean. Now, funnily enough, if I cut to my camera, my overhead camera, this is a seat pad that I did with that process yesterday. Not yesterday. Sunday today, yeah, Thursday or Friday, I can't remember which. And it gives you a slight texture and a slight sheen. You see? It's a trial and error one, getting the mix right. I have to admit, on a number of occasions, I've got the mix wrong, and I've just had to go back and repaint them. But what's going on with static today? But that's my method. You're going to focus. You're going to focus. There we go. Look at that. So
yeah, it's lovely.
It's a bit. It's one of those things where you've kind of a little bit of trial and error goes into it, but that's how I do it. There you go.
Yep. That's the decal sheets for the Tamiya CB1000F.
Masks for
now reissue time.
Yes. The brute is back.
So this is their 1978 Ford Zaxpeed Capri Turbo. Oh my goodness me, Ian! What have they done to the Ford Capri?
Well, I love that car. It's a DTM Capri. That's a proper thing. They issued it previously with H&M decals a few years back. A black car with lots of blue and off and pale blue bits in it. This one, the Mampa car, Mampa livery. I may have one on pre-order because I that's not one that livery I've not built, so I'm quite keen on that. There are a number of I believe Studio 27 decal sheets to do other versions of that as well. I know, comment of I want a bog standard kit, the Capri, yeah, we all do, but the only one you're going to get is the AMT kit, which is an American version. You have to convert it to British standard.
Didn't Eshy do a Capri, or am I thinking?
If they did, I've never seen it.
No, okay, that's errant memory there. Do you know? Sorry, I've gone a bit Michael Caine there for a second. Do you know when Tamiya first issued this kit?
Not long after it ran.
Okay,
it was motorized originally.
1979.
Yeah, it came out concurrent with the car actually running in DTM. The cartograph sheet is the big step in this, because the previous version with that livery in was not a cartograph sheet, and it was it wasn't the best deco sheet in the world, shall we just say that? But no, that was originally motorized. That and it shows actually when you're building it, it's got like 20 bits, half of which is the figure. So it's there's some work involved.
Now we had some comments. Excuse me. We had some comments as we started the show tonight, about Tamiya mirror paint. Yeah, this I'm just seeing if I no, I haven't got any blurb for it, but we do have some blurb for it. I do apologize. We do, because here is what Tamiya say about it. So let me just that's the primer. So mirror paint does not require dilution. It can be applied by brush or airbrush. Paint on very thin coat, the grey membrane will change to a mirror surface. Apply multiple or thick layers. Applying multiple or thick layers will give substandard results. Do not paint clear layers on top of mirror paint. And then, and that's the primer. So use the primer before applying Tamiya mirror paint. Primer does not require dilution. Blah, 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 essentially. A thin layer is sufficient. Allow the primer to dry before applying the top coat. So yeah, so there is a primer, and then there is the mirror paint as well. People have been speculating: is it essentially like Molotow in a bottle?
No, that's a completely different system to Molotow. There is another brand that some of the American guys have been trying, and that seems to be a single component. This is the first dual component one I've seen. What is intriguing me is why you would choose to sell the primer separately to the finish when the finish requires the primer. And the other one that I'm questioning is the primer can damage the plastic. That's what it very clearly says on there, and not to use it over. So it says applying primer too thickly may damage the plastic surface, cannot be applied over acrylic or enamel paints, and may damage lacquer and TS spray paint. Basically, you can't put it over anything. That
sounds very hot, Ian.
It does. It sounds ridiculous. It's one of those ones where, and it's my question. There's two questions I have at the minute. Is that going to pass CE, or what's the UK version of CE now? UK some certification standards for content. So are we even going to see it in Europe? And how much is it going to be? Because looks, the primer pot's it's an old style big pot look, and the metallic finish itself is in the new smaller style pot. I'm absolutely convinced I'm going to see that, and it's going to cost me about 30 quid. Like,
I've got to send some messages to Mr. Farmer tomorrow, so I will ask him about this, because like you, I am intrigued about this, which is why we've featured it on the show tonight. But yeah, that's going to be interesting, isn't it? Right.
Yeah,
Hasegawa.
Zoom on.
So we've got here, this is 24 scale, and this is the Toyota 88C 1989 WSPC.
Right, so just to on these, there's a couple of Hasegawa kits here that we've seen they're reissuing. You'll notice on the bottom of the box it says limited edition. It's old plastic. An old plastic. So the 88C kit came out around 89, and the other one, which you're now going to bring up, this one came out in a similar time frame. They aren't new kits by any stretch of the imagination. What appears to have happened is these have now got cartograph sheets in them. Obviously, that one is not going to have silk cut logos in it, I would have thought.
What a drag.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. And I'm pretty sure that the F1 car, which is a Benetton, I think that might have had mild 7 on it actually, when it originally ran. So I doubt they'll be in it. But it's interesting that they're choosing to reissue them now with new cartograph decor sheets in their limited edition series. I have to admit, I've never actually built the Jag, so I am tempted. There's a good word.
according to Scalemates, the boxing we're looking at the moment, that one came out in 2023 with new decals. So
I wonder if that's a reissue of a reissue then.
Yeah, bizarre.
Well, it's typical Hasegawa. It wouldn't surprise any of us, would it?
No, they're not. They're not the brand that they just don't seem to have that kind of universality, that ubiquity that they used to have when I was a young lad. Being able to go into Beatties and great big wall of Hasegawa. Even if I go into specialist model shops these days, Hasegawa seems to be in a minority. So
yeah, those days, the advantage of going in, the reason you could buy them in Beatties was, of course, they were imported by
Amarang, who were the spin-off from AA Hales Limited. Right, so, Ian, what have we got here? We have got a Benetton Formula One car
in 1/24. Coming back to what we were saying about Revell, Hasegawa, another one that make their F1 kits in 1/24. It's actually, I built this when it came out many moons ago, and it was a really nice thing. And it's quite a cool livery, and yeah. It's an interesting choice. The interesting thing that they should choose to reissue it now. Obviously there's a bit of a resurgence in the popularity of Formula One at the moment, and I wonder if they're trying to cash in on it. But I don't know. You can't. Hand on heart, what was the last new tool Hasegawa kit you remember that wasn't in that agricultural series? No. We've had that Skyline this year or last year, but that's about it from my point of view. Everything else seems to be revisions or revised versions of older things. And even with the Skyline, I had to really go back through my records to make sure that it wasn't another kit just with extra bits in, an older kit with extra bits in. So, like you say, they're not the power that they were. There was one point in time where we were all waiting for Hasegawa's new releases. They went through that series of new tool 72nd scale single engine fighters in the 80s and 90s, where they did the MS 406 and they did a D520 and they did a 109 Gs and they did all sorts of stuff like that. The Focke-Wulf 190s, the A1s, A3s, A5s, and things like that. And they were corking little kits in their time. That they're still reissuing that same plastic now, just with different decals in it, and they have been left behind monumentally. Really, it's a shame because the brand identity in its time was enormous, absolutely enormous, and I don't know, particularly now, and with Airfix now issuing the new British Phantom.
Well, again, somebody said the other day, Hasegawa have already done that. That was 37 years ago. Sorry,
is that all? I thought it was longer ago than even that. But no, because they did the Orcock and Brown special edition one, and the race across the Atlantic, the grey one with the.
That's it. Yeah, the Hasegawa. I'm sure it was. Let me double check my facts there. I'm sure it was 1989 it came out. Let me just Scalemates. I do beg your pardon. I've got my dates wrong. It was actually 1988, so it was 38 years ago.
38 years ago. Wow.
But yeah, it's still that's a long time ago. So
yeah. Like Dave says, they're a fairly small company, but that fairly small company was a market leader at one point. And something went missing. Girl in the swimsuit. Yeah, they've done about 20 of them, and they're actually all hobby design, just rebacked. So
and finally, this is one that you flagged up, Ian. This is a company called Zoomon.
We've covered Zoomon a couple of times on the show with various bits and pieces. They are an aftermarket and accessory manufacturer, but they do some very very, very nicely done, targeted stuff, wheels and bits and pieces. They have a link to SK Decals, which is very useful. But these are upgrade wheels for the new B-Max new 1980 BMW 320i, and from what I've seen of them, I have to admit I haven't actually physically got my hands on a set of these, because to be honest, I haven't bought the BMW either. I think they're a worthwhile investment where you're building it, and just for the resolution on those straight, the raised elements on the wheel covers, they're absolutely beautiful. The turned metal rim sections are lovely as well, equally lovely. I've got a number of sets of their wheels for other things, and they're pretty spot on.
They do look, exquisite, don't they? I mean, those turned metal kind of hubs just look fabulous, don't they?
Yeah. It looks like they're doing a number of different sets of these as well, in different sizes, because those wheels you can put on a lot of things. As someone just pointed out, the Capri ran something close to those. I've got pictures of Group A Skylines running those wheels as well, or variations of those wheels. So, yeah, that's a really nice upgrade, and hopefully they'll expand that range. I mean, their ranges of alloy wheels, modern alloy wheels, are huge. They do some really lovely bits and pieces. In fact, he says pulling out a drawer of bits. I've got some here. Okay, so I'm lying. What are we done with them? Oh, they're there. I've got several sets of them from them. There we go. So I can show you those. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Zoom On. I have a huge amount of their stuff stashed away in various boxes with kits, and yeah, really good. And yeah, someone said they're cheap. The thing is, at the minute, the Hong Kong dollars running the Hong Kong dollar. They are my teeth, honest. Is running at somewhere around $11.50 to the pound, which is pushing up towards one of the higher ratings it's had in the last 20 years. So buying from that marketplace is actually quite cheap comparable.
Yep. Here are some snaps of the actual vehicles. Yeah. With the goodness me, look at that. That's with that combination of the really kind of bright hubs and the rims to the hubs, and then the actual hubs themselves.
That one. That's a whole lot of me, that car. I love that livery.
Yeah, so that's the end of tonight's car service. So there's a lot of stuff coming out this year, Ian.
Yeah, there isn't, isn't there? You know, and there's a couple of big hitters, with the 112 scale bits and pieces. It's nice to see Italeri be doing sensible revisions to the Eschi stuff to vary them. Those couple of Safari Rally options will be nice. What I did notice is there's nothing, like the Fulvia.
Yeah,
that we had last year. You've disappeared.
No, I'm here.
Yeah, like the Fulvia we had last year. That big, everybody was like, wow issue. Review what we've looked at tonight. There ain't anything. The 570S, sorry, the McLaren maybe, the Rivoletto, well, it's out already. I'm gonna say I've got one coming. But then where's that wow moment kit? I don't know. I don't know where it's coming from at the minute. The CB1000F, yeah, but it's a Tamiya kit, so we kind of expect it to be a bit wow. No, I don't know. I think it's a little bit.
I don't know. I think scrolls through, I think that that 1/12 scale Mercedes looks pretty dandy.
Yeah, but
and a new Vespa.
Yeah, but think about the Mercedes. Think about the Bugatti and the Stratos that we did last year.
Yeah.
What was the one that most people were interested in? Out of everything Italy did last year, it was the 1/24 scale Fulvia. Lots of people were interested in the Stratos, but it's a 250 quidder. Fulvia's 40 quid, 45, whatever it turned out to be. There isn't that had a massive amount of interest in that one kit. And because the thing is, what I am noticing, and I don't know if you've clocked it as well, obviously, because my bias is very much my part of the hobby. When we look at, someone's just made the comment about, in spite of the golden age label, the number of big companies, Dave Fleming would be, is getting smaller. Right. That aside, all these new manufacturers, IBG, Ryefield, Meng less so. We'll put Meng to one side because I have issues with Meng. Tacom, Mini Art. ICM is about the only one that I'm going to include in this. Where's the automotive product? It's all tanks and planes. And we're so if you're a military builder, I'm carping on about it again. I'm really sorry. I do it all the time in it. But if you're a military builder or an airplane builder or a tank builder, it is a golden age. There is stuff out there every week when I come on the show with you and Drew and Chris. There's something in there that I think, good God, when I was building airplanes, I'd have given a limb for that. In some instances, there's two kits of things like that. There's not the automotive side is really slim. New have pulled back their announcements. They've not announced anything new for this year that they haven't already told us about. And most of what they're doing is extracting the maximum from their BMW license, and all power to them for that. They've paid a lot of money for that license. Bell kits. We're still waiting for the GR Yaris. It's not arrived yet. I know Andy was saying at SMW that they were expecting it imminently, but it ain't on the shelves yet. Their RS200 has been in development for nearly a decade now, by my reckoning.
Funny you say that. There was some comments here about here we go. Paul made the observation that the RS200 is well overdue.
Yeah. And again, what's the divide in sales for plane, tanks, and cars? It is massively planes and tanks biased, and I understand that. But the opportunity for people who don't want to buy specialist product to buy anything that isn't planes and tanks is fairly slim. So they're forced almost into building planes and tanks. I don't know. The American market for car modeling is enormous. Probably much more biased. But they're an automotive culture, so they grew up with the likes of AMT and Johan and people like that doing the annual product. We didn't ever actually have that. We never did that. It's interesting. British car dealerships never went that route. The American guys, it was like, yeah, here's your the keys to your 1964 Ford Galaxy, and here's a model of it to give to little Johnny. And that was kind of how it worked.
Yeah, I'm just going to say the also on that page there is it's the matchless. Sorry, I'm just going to go and grab the page again. It's the matchless G50 1/9 scale. Guess who's tooling that is, Ian? Protar.
That's older than
It's so old, I don't think Scale Mates have even got a date for it. I just looked it up and there was nothing there. It just, here is the kit. Anyway.
That said, I built that. years ago, and it made a lovely model. The problem is, if you give that to Peter Buckingham in 18 months' time, we'll all be wanting to stamp on his fingers. So I was just reading something there. I wouldn't mind seeing more pre-1930s cars. I just want to see more cars. I'd take anything. I'm not. Although having said that, that new Tamiya Prelude did leave me somewhat cold, and that's a bit odd. No.
Yes, Jack Daniels, bit mischievous, says looks like Airfix will release more new tool flowers and cars. And Dave, very interesting point from Dave here. Don't underestimate the effects of US tariffs. Non-US companies may be reluctant to commit to production of product that's going to be more expensive for the consumer in their largest overseas market. And Dave knows what he's talking about. So
we're standing looking at stuff. A friend of mine was in a model shop in Seattle yesterday and rang me and FaceTimed me while they were there, and was like, "What would you anything you need?" That is a conversation. The new AMT 60 Nomad, Chevrolet 60 Nomad, is out. Now that's what they call a craftsman's kit. So it's not full of detail and extra bits and custom parts. It's kind of a bit like an annual style thing. So it's what we would have called a screw together back in the day. Now that's $40. Now, 5 years ago, that would have been about $25. And that's the impact, because even because the issue with the tariffs is that the progenitor of them doesn't understand that the people that pay them are actually the end user, not the supplier.
Not the producer. Yes.
So the price of the kits in America, even the American manufactured kits, the American produced kits, so your round two and people and they're tooled in China. And a very good point was made earlier when we were talking about Atlantis. They are manufacturing their product in America. They're doing all their chroming, their decals, their boxes, everything in-house in New York State. Which is why that 57 Nomad is selling for $33.
Ian, we've got a late addition to the show. One of our viewers said, what about the Meng 1/9 scale BMW M1000RR, which was announced back in December? That's your response.
Well, right, okay, so Meng have obviously got a BMW license. I've got at least one. I've got the HP4 Race, which I'm going to hold my hand up. I am not knowledgeable on BMW bikes. I'm of the opinion that we're looking at on the screen there is the HP4, is the road-going version of HP4. But I may be wrong, and I'll stand to be corrected if that's the case. Yeah, I'm trying. Oh, it's got the anti-dive on the front end. Oh, very nice. I'm trying to build that Meng HP4, and I've been trying to build it for above a year and a half. You can tell that there was a pre-painted screw together issue of it at some point. There's another company, Magic Company, who did the A4 Skyhawks, have done some bikes as well, and they're pre-painted as well. And that the fact that they're designed to be screwed together actually compromises, and pre-painted compromises the ability to build them as we would build a model kit, in that we're adding detail, finish, and things like that. So, yeah, I have to. I'm biting my tongue. I said just now. Discount Meng. I've got my own issues with Meng. Their GT40 that they put out as a 1966 racing car in 24 scale car is no more a 1966 GT40 than I am.
So Jack Daniels, this is a very good comment. He says, on a serious note, is the lack of cars due to copyright IP on the design when aviation is down to just a few companies?
Have you seen the licensing costs that Lockheed, Boeing are charging for building models of their kits of their aircraft?
Talking of licensing, here is an interesting one from sorry, can't read that. It's too small on the screen. And he says, anyone have any idea what happened to the Revell Mini, original 60s Mini Cooper Road and Rally? It was madness that they went head to head with the established Tamiya kit, invested loads in it. 2 years later, gone.
So the Revell Mini is actually a better outline than the Tamiya one.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Both. The best Mini, classic Mini in plastic, remains the new Tool Hasegawa kit, which contradicts something I said earlier. But that again is now something like 6 or 7 year old tooling, and they're just turning it out with new sets of wheels, new lights, and new stickers over and over and over again. They've just done one of the anniversary cars, but they're up to 40 and 45 quid a pop now for a Mini.
Yeah. I'm just wondering whether the Revell Mini disappearing that quickly, whether that's a licensing issue.
I got that gut feeling because it was very big, and I salted a couple of ways because I built the Twinny, which is the car that raced on the Targa Floria, which had an engine in the back and an engine in the front. And the best one to build it with was the Revell one because the roof was separate and I could do what I needed to do. And I built the Revell one, and I built a Tamiya one at the same time as the non-messed about with car that raced the same year, in lovely coral blue. And the Tamiya one I found harder to build than the Revell one, and it's in that series originally, and there are compromises. The back end shape is off, and I couldn't pin down why. The Revell one ain't perfect, but it's Revell. It's not perfect. But the Hasegawa, if you want to build a really good classic Mini, the Hasegawa one wins hands down if you can find one.
Any other business?
Got a little thing.
Go on.
Portuguese company called Small Great Details. There we go.
Ooh.
These are little generic frets of doodads. These are instrument bezels. 24 scale and 32nd scale. They have dimensions down the side of the fret, so they start at 1.4 millimeters and they go out to 5.4 millimeters on that one. They start at 1.8 on this one and they go out to 7.2 millimeters on that one. They're in a chrome effect steel. I will admit I ordered these to go on the dashboard for the Abarth, where there's two very big dials. Unfortunately, for a complicated reasons, they've only just turned up. There were issues with mailing and stuff. They're really rather nice. They're really nicely packaged. I'll give them that. Nicely done. So they sell them as 32nd and 48th scale manometers or manometers bezels. Yeah, there you go. This is I needed to get to a level for postage to work. So this got ordered as well. It's always the way, isn't it? This is a set of injector units in 1/24 scale. They say it's for a Cosworth. What's interesting is there's 12. The Cosworth obviously is a V8, so you only needed 8 rather. But they go under the intake, the trumpets, and so to get your fuel lines in. So they're quite a nice little touch, those. And they weren't massively expensive. Small Great Details is their web identity. They have quite a nice little easy to use website. They use Shopify, as everybody does now. But they're made in Portugal. And quite nice.
If you could put that link onto our public page, that would be marvelous.
I'll do the usual pictures and
Excellent stuff. Right. That's it for tonight, folks. A big thank you to Ian for his time. We over 90 minutes tonight, Ian.
I do apologize.
No, that's fine. This is why we like doing these shows, because it gives us a chance to to get all this stuff done. And sorry, I just playing with some of the comments here. Lox9 says Eshy did a Mark II Escort, and Paul Adams says, but it's terrible. That's the one I've just boxed up, actually. The Zach Speed one that I built. The Zach Speed one that I built autumn last year, which I then forgot to take to Telford with me.
You know what? I did it recently. I thought I must ask John what I'm doing. Did he give that to me? And never thought. Oh, there is one comment in that. Belkits did a Mark I Escort. You can't build it as a road car.
Okay. Mark 1 or Mark II Escort?
The chassis is wrong for a road car.
Yeah, is it Mark 1 or Mark II Escort?
Mark 1.
Mark 1.
So there's a couple of people saying we could do with Belkits doing a Mark II to accompany their Mark 1. I'd really like them to do a road chassis for the Mark 1, so we could do a road car first, please. But there you go.
Right. We will convene again probably in a month's time for another car show, Ian. But yeah, carry on funneling news to me, and we can build it all up. And yeah, so
are we due a Japanese show soon? I think we're due the spring Suzuka show soon, aren't we? So there's bound to be some kind of
yep.
joy.
Well, what I'm hoping to be able to do on next week's Sunday service, which you are cordially invited to, is we will hopefully be doing a catch up on all the other stuff that Revell are doing for 2026. So that will be the armor, armor aircraft, ships, and other bits and pieces. So fingers crossed, that's what we'll do next Sunday on the Sunday service. So until then, a big shout to Mr. Ian Hartup for his time and his expertise tonight, and of course a big shout out to you, the viewers, for quite frankly indulging us over the last 90 minutes. We'll be back next Sunday for a regular Sunday service. Until then, oh yeah, and also Ian, I am going to have a word with Mr. Farmer to see about getting some cars for the Gangster Challenge. So we're working on it. So, folks, until next Sunday, as always, thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay out of trouble, and we'll see you very, very soon. Bye for now.
Bye all.